stand by, and when you're ready.
Welcome back to the KBEY 103.9 FM Homegrown Hour, brought to you by Lakeside Pond with your host, Mel Highsmith. Today we have in studio a local legend around the state of Texas, Mike Blakely. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's good to be here.
And sitting
Back
next
in Marble Falls.
Yes, sir. Sitting next to Mike Blakely is Seth Zargalos of the Hideaway Uptown Theater here in Marble Falls, Texas. Welcome to the show again, Seth.
How y'all doing?
You know, Mike's sitting over at the Lakeside Pond Jury, especially today before we got here. Everybody's in there. They're super excited that you're here today. There's no doubt. I'm zero embellishment there. And they're all very excited for me to ask this one question of you. Where did Mike Blakely's journey begin?
My journey, well, I was born in Huntsville, Texas, so I'm a native Texan. But I did most of my growing up in Wharton, Texas. You gotta kind of pucker up to say that. It's just Wharton. And it's down there between Houston and Victoria, around El Campo, that area down there, Texas coastal plains. My dad had a job for about 10 years teaching agriculture courses there at Wharton County Junior College, one of my alma maters. And my dad is a musician, so when I was a kid, he played fiddle, mandolin, guitar, banjo, and the musical saw. So it was just natural for me to pick up a guitar and mandolin, things like that. And I think my dad taught me to play the Red River Valley, 3 chords, the Red River Valley, when I was 8 years old. So I've been playing ever since. That's where the journey began, right there in my own home.
So your father, you got your musicianship, for lack of better words, from your father. Did he play out with any bands when you were a young kid, or?
He had a group of guys from around town that would get together and jam at the house, and then they would play for fundraisers and charities around town and things like that. But he wasn't in the full-time honky-tonk business or anything like that. But he played a lot of music with his buddies for good reasons.
Where did you just stated that you got your passion for the music from your father. How old were you when you actually got your first guitar, started strumming out songs yourself without your father being right there with you?
Well, I mean, he always claimed that he taught me 3 chords, and then that's the only influence he had on my musical career, which is not quite true. But yeah, there were always guitars and instruments laying around the house, so they weren't necessarily mine. They were kind of family instruments, and I would just pick one up whenever I wanted to, and play the chords that I knew and make up things that I didn't know, and that led to writing. I don't want to call them songs, kind of amateur ditties that I would make up some words in my own little tunes, but I was still pretty young, so but that was the genesis of my songwriting career and what little bit I know about music.
Absolutely. So when you were in school, a lot of people in my family, when they were in school, they always took their guitars and they would play for the students there. Did you do anything like that, or the music life, as I guess to express it, wasn't involved with you at that time? Did the students in your hometown school know that you were a musician? And
they did. For one thing, I sang in the school choir, which was a really popular kind of thing to do back in those days in our town. We had a good choir director. We put on a musical, one of the Broadway musicals every year, but also was in the obligatory garage band when I was about 16, beginning about that time.
And what was the name of that band?
It was called Water Planet.
Water Planet?
It was a name they borrowed from a band from California that had disbanded, and the guys who put the band together, I was invited to come be their singer later on, but they had a bunch of leftover posters from this other band called Water Planet. They said, "Hey, free posters, let's call our band Water Planet." And then I got recruited to go sing in a bigger band called Redwood, and it was out of the nearby town of Eagle Lake and Columbus, that area. And those guys were all older than me. I was still in high school, and they were in their 20s and 30s, and some really good musicians. And we played all the cover tunes from country music to the pop songs of the day, and played big dance halls, and that would hold 500 or 600 people. And so that was a real hoot, and that's where I really got the bug to perform.
And how old were you in those days?
With the band called Redwood, it was probably when I was 17 and 18 years old, just almost getting ready to graduate.
Okay, so absolutely, it's been a large part of your life, as we can tell, by the last 35, 40 years.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I took a break from music when I served in the Air Force for 4 years, and other than just jamming with some guys in the barracks and that sort of thing, I didn't play a whole lot of, wasn't gigging, you know, wouldn't play any shows. But, and then I went to college on the GI Bill after that, and didn't play a whole lot there either. But after that, I moved here to Marble Falls and met Jonathan Martinez, and that kind of rebooted my music career as mainly a songwriter instead of a cover team player.
Yeah, I've had the distinct pleasure of going to see one of your shows with Kurt Balmer and Jonathan Martinez.
We're gonna do one of those shows tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was absolutely amazing, those three together.
They really are, yeah.
You know, one of the questions, and you just answered it, but I was gonna ask about your military service in the United States Air Force. So,
Yeah, I wanted to go to college and wanted to do as much as I could to pay for it myself instead of saddling my parents with that expense. So I joined the Air Force in order to, number one, serve my country, but secondly, to take advantage of the GI Bill. And so I spent 4 years as a helicopter mechanic for the Air Force. I worked on Sikorsky, the biggest, the Super Jolly Green Giant is the nickname of the aircraft. It's the CH-53. And they were the big gunships that were used in Vietnam. And so that's what I worked on. Stationed out at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which was a great place to live for 2.5 years. And then I spent a year in South Korea for my last year in the Air Force out there.
okay, so you just decided, you know, I'm going back to music. I'm not gonna do another hitch in the Air Force.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember some of the, you know, I was a sergeant by this time, and some the officers will gather you and ask you to come into the commander's office, and they want to try to talk you into re-upping, you know. And that's part of the job, and I understood that. And they said, well, Sergeant Blakely, you know, we think you're a real quality kind of guy. We want you to think about re-enlisting and continue your career and retiring in 20 years and all this. And I told them, well, thank you, sir, but I think I've decided to go back to civilian life. And they said, well, Sergeant Blakely, what do you think you're going to do? And I said, well, I'd like to try a little writing. And they all kind of rolled their eyes at me. Okay, all right.
Yeah, boy, did they get the roll the line wrong right there. And we're gonna come back to what you had just said about that writing here shortly. So, you know, when I was looking up the information on you, like all the guests that come on the show, I go in and try to update myself with all their information beyond what I already knew about it. And, you know, I was amazed to see that you've toured Europe 16 different times.
About 16 or 18, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay. When did you first go to Europe for your first tour? Do you remember back then?
Yeah, it was '97, and a friend of mine, fellow musician Donnie Price, who's from Lampasas and Marble Falls, and he had been over to Europe, mainly Italy, with another band as their bass player, and he invited some of those Italian musicians that he met to come visit him here. And when he did, he said, "Hey, I got some Italian musicians. Can we come out to your ranch and do a little barbecue or something?" I said, "Sure." So I met these Italian guys, and we jammed around the campfire, and they said, "We want to set a tour up for you and Donnie in Italy. Just come on over to Italy. We'll line up 10 or 12 gigs for you." So that was the first time we went over there, and that's how it all got started.
Okay, excellent. I bet it was a wild experience. While you were there playing in Italy, did you get to see any of the, areas, Colosseum of Rome, I guess is what I'm asking.
You know, that became a sticking point because the folks who were booking us at first, the Italian bunch, and then we got a promoter out of Switzerland who booked us, and we were playing every night. I mean, we'd go over 3 weeks and play every night. And finally, after a couple of years of this, we told our promoter, said, "Look, we need a couple of days off." You know, we'd have our Italian friends driving us to the next gig, and they would say, "Oh, over here are these great Roman ruins. It's a beautiful place, but we can't stop. We got to go. We're running late." So we started building in some days off so we'd go to things. You know, we went to Venice and saw the Colosseum. We went to Florence, where all the great artwork is, and then around Switzerland, we ended up doing many other countries, France and Switzerland and Germany and Belgium and Holland, and saw a lot of Austria. We saw a lot of places. So, and we learned to build in a little off time so we could take in the local sites.
Yeah, so it goes to show you, you go to Europe as a musician, everybody thinks you get to do some sightseeing. Then you find out, you put your nose to the ground, and that's why you're there. That's the play. And just one of the things, it reiterates the journey a lot of musicians take. It is a hard road out
Well,
there.
to make it financially feasible, you need to work almost every night.
Yes, sir.
So you can pay for your airfare and all that. Most of the gigs that would provide a room and some meals, but you know, we still had our petrol to pay, the gasoline to pay for, and that sort of thing. So, you know, you gotta work a lot to make it pay.
So when you say make it paid, so they provide your room and your meals and stuff on those tours over there, but there's no guaranteed pay, you work for tips or?
No, we would have contracts with venues,
Okay.
and we would know how much that we were gonna get from there. And most of them were not tipping, you know, they don't do a whole lot of tipping in Europe. It's not like we do here, so that's not really in their wheelhouse or their habits to do that. So we were paid fairly well by the venues, and then we had our merchandise sales too. You know, they bought a lot of CDs from us over there.
Yeah, merch is very important.
Yeah.
A lot of single artists, duos, or bands don't understand you don't sell that merchandise.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a huge
we
sell
could,
in both feet.
we could sometimes double or triple our pay with merchandise. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let's talk about the first song that you're planning to do for us today.
Okay, I put a new record out last June, so it hadn't been quite a year yet. And I should mention that my first two CDs that I did were Western recordings, Western songs, Cowboy songs.
Yes, sir.
And then I kind of branched into more Americana country kind of music. But I got a lot of requests over the years to do another pure cowboy music CD, so I did that last year. Produced by Walt Wilkins and Ron Flint, Jumping Dog Studio in Austin. Had a lot of, you know, I wish I could name all the players. Kurt Bommer, we already mentioned, he played fiddle on the project.
He's outstanding.
We had some just excellent players and singers on the project. And so I'll do the title cut off of that record. It's called The Outside Circle. And the story behind it is that when you go around, I've been lucky enough, I grew up in a ranching family, and I've been lucky enough to go out on some big ranches and help round up cattle. And when you get like out in West Texas, those big 20,000 acre pastures, you know, you just send a bunch of cowboys out in a series of circles, each circle being a little further around than the next, because you want to sweep across all the country, make sure you find all the cattle. And that outside circle, that's the longest, roughest trail. So the young cowboys usually aspire to be chosen to ride the outside circle because it's a point of honor. It means that you're one of the best cowhands, you got the best horse, and can ride the furthest. So that's what the song is about, the outside circle.
Okay, right here on the Homegrown Hour, KBEY 103.9. My pleasure to see you. The outside circle.
When I was a young boy, my age was barely 10, riding my first roundup with the older boys and men. The foreman sent our top hand where lesser men might fail, to ride the outside circle, the longest, roughest trail. I watched that top man ride out on a skittish cold that day. Once on a distant ridge, saw him turning horns my way. Deep in the herd by evening, his pony soaked with sweat. And I made myself a promise that I still remember yet. One day I'd ride the outside circle, I'd make a top hat, riding through the sage so purple, round the Ocotillo stand. And I'd chouse the wildest cattle on the roughest broncos, and I'd ride the outside circle for the brand. Well, I held my promise sacred, and I ain't keep my word. I learned to throw a fast loop from the rankest in the herd. And it was 10 years later said you'll ride the outside circle, son. Go get yourself a horse. And I rode the outside circle. I made a top hat, riding through the sage so purple, round the Ocotillo stand. And I choused the wildest cattle on the roughest broncos, and I rode the outside circle for the brand. These days I'm the foreman. Some say I'm getting old. It's true, my hair is silver. You see my legs are bold. And I ride the inside circles now. Just ask my cowboy peers. They know I rode that outside circle for well nigh 30 years. Yes, I rode the outside circle. I made a top man, riding through the sage so purple, round the Ocotillo stand. And I choused the wildest cattle on the roughest broncos, and I rode the outside circle for the brand. In my dreams I ride the ridges, in my stirrups I still stand, and I ride the outside circle for the brand.
Mike Blakely played one of his original songs, Outside Circle. No, that was actually Mike.
Very good.
Thank you very much for coming on and singing that one.
Yeah, I noticed one out of tune string there. I'm tuning up real quick. 2 or 3 out of tune strings. That song might sound a little better. I wrote that song with my friend Damon Rogers, by the way.
Oh yeah, when you get done, we'll bring that up.
Okay.
Now we can edit all this out.
Yeah,
so
that's
no
gonna be
worries.
cut out.
Okay, now I'm in tune again. Sorry about that.
All right, good.
Yeah, I wrote that with Damon Rogers, who co-wrote 3 songs with me on that Cowboy project. And Damon's a real sure enough cowboy, horse breaker, a buckaroo, which is a whole different level of cowboy. And he came up with the idea, and so that's where that particular song comes from.
So is he from around here? What part?
He grew up in Arizona and Texas. His dad was a horse trainer, horse breaker too. And then he moved up to the Montana, Idaho region up there for a while to learn the buckaroo traditions, which is from the old Spanish vaquero. The Anglo cowboys couldn't say vaquero back in the way, so they changed it to buckaroo. So it's the old using the rawhide rope, and most buckaroos can throw something like 34 different kinds of loops.
Wow.
You know, so it's a pretty intricate process. It's quite a deal. So.
Outstanding. Yeah, working over at Lakeside Pond, the owner of the business, he was into the rodeo big time when he was a young man, and so I could hear all the stories from him and his brother Bulldog and things like that. You know, I noticed on your bio on your website of how many different artists have actually recorded your songs. I mean, I'll start off with a couple of names and let you go back through the list, but Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
So what was it like to have Alan Jackson record one
Well,
of your songs?
it was a big thrill, and it's a song that I co-wrote with John Arthur Martinez, that you all know. Everybody around here knows John Arthur. It was his idea at first, and I was helping him write it. And we went to Nashville, and we had become friends with the great Alex Harvey, who wrote Delta Dawn, Hell and High Water, and many other.
He's amazing. He's one of my friends.
Yeah, well, and ours too. And so we were in Nashville trying to work on this song called Seguro que Hell Yes, which was, it's like a border saying, especially out around El Paso. In Spanish, if you say seguro que sí, that means surely yes. But on the border, you throw a little English in there, and you might say seguro que yeah, or seguro que hell yes, if you're really emphatic about it. So we were writing a song around that phrase. We wrote it the first time around all in Spanish, and Alex Harvey speaks some Spanish, and he asked him, he said, "Can I help you with that song?" Yeah, I guess so, Mr. Alex Harvey. So we wrote that song, and Alex pitched it to Flaco Jimenez through Flaco's producer, and Flaco recorded it with Raul Malo of the Mavericks singing the lead part, and of course Flaco doing the accordion work. And 20 years later, Alan Jackson, I don't know how he knew of the song or where he got a hold of it. We don't know, but he recorded a version that was a lot like Flaco's version.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a personal fan of Alan Jackson. And everybody wonders how, 20 years later, how did Alan Jackson come up with it? You know, although music is a tough road to walk on, the world's very small on each side. So anything you do, I truly believe, what we're doing here today, musicians will pop in somebody's head 10 years from now on one of your songs.
Could be.
So also you've recorded songs with Gary P. Nunn?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Talk about that.
Gary P. this has been 20 years ago or so, he was recording in a little studio down near Fredericksburg, and I knew he was recording there, so I stopped by and had a couple of songs that I thought that he might like, and so I dropped him off at the studio. He happened to not be there at the moment, and he listened to the 2 or 3 songs I gave him, and he recorded 3 of them. One of them didn't make it onto the record, but the other 2 did, and the one that's become most popular is called "It's About to Get Western," a song that I co-wrote with Larry Nye, the guitar legend from Kingsland, and also our friend Mike Seiler, who now lives in Nashville. So that's how that happened, and Gary P. Cut those 2 songs. He still plays that song in his show, and he still sends me royalties after all these years. I mean, at first the royalties were, he was selling the record because it was a new record. He was selling quite a few. It's been 20 years later, and that record doesn't sell near as well as it does, and so, I get my royalties around Christmas time, and I think this year it was $12.46 or something like that.
Well, you're talking, I mean, it adds up over 20 years.
It does, but like I said, the mailbox money was really pretty good at first, and but that's a tribute to Gary P. He just keeps paying out and making sure everybody gets their legal share.
That's good,
Yeah.
An honorable man within the music industry.
You got it.
So outstanding. I know that you have played quite a bit with John Ralph Martinez.
Over the past about 30 years we played.
Yeah, so you play every first Wednesday of each month.
That's right, on the Rocks in Cottonwood Shores. And John Arthur's actually there every Wednesday, but he has a different set of guests, and so I'm there the first Wednesday at On the Rocks. And we'll be there tonight. This being the first Wednesday at 7 o'clock, 7 to 9. And Kurt Balmer, the fiddler, the great fiddler, he'll be there with us too. So looking forward to it.
Outstanding, outstanding. So, real quick, you got to meet Seth Starvelos from the Hideaway Uptown Theater. I keep saying the Hideaway because that's his new name, correct, Seth?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, for a while we'll have to be saying the Uptown behind us.
Get used to it.
Yeah, I'm already saying it, so I'm already on board. I was lucky enough to go watch the other night. Seth invited me, Mike, to watch an Eagles tribute band.
Oh, wow.
And, in the last quarter century, I've seen a lot of tribute bands, and normally I shy away from them. So I was like, man, get your own life. But these guys, already gone. I mean, I was blown back. My wife's sitting over there on the couch, and she tell you, I talked about that singer, the rest of the night. He was absolutely amazing. But Seth here has some great things going on, and he's going to talk a little bit about them.
Yes, first off, it's a pleasure to be here, to listen to you and to hear your experience. I know the road it takes to do what you're doing. Like I said, my name is Seth Zargellos. I have the Hideaway at the Uptown here in Marble Falls, and we had a lot of good things going on. One of the things that was a hard thing to find was a house band, and I brought in the Troubadours and got them signed into that, so they'll be doing that every Friday, every other Friday. And so Louis is going to be the host on that. So the first show,
Louis Long.
Yes, it is. And the first show will be, and he's going to call it Friday Night Opry. And the first show will be the 19th at 7 p.m. just to let you know. And stay tuned for that on the media, Facebook and etc. On my site, even go
April 19th.
Yes,
okay.
April 19th. And the first intro he has there is Sonny Martin. And he is a multi-songwriter like yourself. He's very successful with different hits that went to different artists. So that's the first intro on that, and it gives you kind of a taste what he's pulling in, as well as a lot of influence with Pootie's. The Uptown's gonna have a lot more. It's not just, finally got a house band that will bring up and coming bands to more higher level. And then I got my tribute bands throughout the year. I have 6, and then I got some bigger names coming in as well.
Okay. Well, hopefully one day we can see Mr. Mike Blakely.
Well, I know, I will.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sonny Throckmorton, I mean, I'm really impressed that you're getting him in there. He is one of those guys that's regarded as the songwriter. He's got a list of hits longer than my arm. You know, he could do hit after hit after hit, and you've heard them all on the radio, so that's gonna be a great show.
Yes, sir. I just want to say thank you to you too, Mel. Last time you were at the theater, you were gone. I'm looking around for you. But next time, man, be there. I want to make sure everybody hears you.
Yeah, absolutely. What I actually did is I went out and took a whole bunch of pictures from the exterior.
Did you?
Across the street. I went down by the old police station, and it was kind of chilly outside, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I did take a lot of pictures. There were just so many more people, the mayor and everybody else there.
Oh, I
So,
know.
I didn't want to stifle anything,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, it's greatly appreciated, really.
Outstanding. All I want to do, gentlemen, is support the live music. Be a musician myself, Sure, I got some talent, but nothing like Mike here. So it's just a lot easier to say, you know what, I'll go ahead and drop anchor and then do my best to support what's around me.
Yes, sir.
If anything comes out of it, then it does, but it's not my main focus.
Yes.
So thank you very much for talking about that, Seth.
I appreciate it, and you take care, and I hope to see you real soon.
Seth, I'd be glad to return there. I played in that room a couple of times. I
Thank
actually
you.
recorded the CD there back in the day.
Yes, I think you'd be impressed.
It's a great theater, and I look forward to seeing what you got going on there. So.
Yes, I think you'll be impressed.
Good.
Thank you.
Just real quick on that, Mike, I recorded a CD with one of my bands there, so I wonder how rare it is to have the host and the guest both recording in a place that
Yeah, how about that?
highway up down there.
I'll even play the stand-up bass. How's that?
Okay, all right. You bet, man.
Sounds good. There's not enough bass players in this world.
No, there's not. Thank you.
All right.
Absolutely. So we got more here with Mike Blakely. So, Mike, let's talk a little bit about some of the notable names that you've played with yourself in regular shows and different type of venues you've been to and such like that.
Okay, yeah, I've been lucky to brush shoulders with a lot of well-known, especially Texas artists. I got to play with Augie Myers a few times, and we were touring Europe. His band was touring Europe at the same time that our band was, so we ended up playing the same festivals. But it was one of the shows at a big festival in Switzerland. Augie saw me standing beside the stage, grooving on the music, and he waved me over. He said, "I want you to play the piano on this song." And I said, "Augie, I'm not a keyboard guy." He said, No, it's one chord here. Put your fingers right here." He said, "You'll know when." I said, what are we playing?" He said, "You'll know what to do." He started playing that Doug Psalm song, "She's About to Move Her." It's got that organ lick, dun, dun, that one chord, dun, dun, over, in the right, and I knew where it went. So I got to play keyboards with Augie Myers once.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, those kind of deals. I've played with Red Steagall and the cowboy music world, Red Steagall and Michael Mark Murphy and guys like that. And I got to write with Alex Harvey, who we already mentioned. And
Yeah, Alex is a hoot.
he's a unique individual. I always tell everybody he's got enough soul for quadruplets. He's just kind of a very soulful dude, so, and a great songwriter.
Yeah, if you remember coming to the studio, I was talking about the hats. He was the one that walked in the shop randomly one day, and he walks up to the counter, and I was like, "Alex, how are you doing?" He goes, "Some people have trademarks, Mel." I was like, "What are you talking about, sir?" He goes, "Your cap." And he turns around and walks right back out. I know that Nathan Dees, who's sitting with us now, he knows Alex.
So he caught you not wearing your cap? Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, he's like, you have your brand, and it should be your hat. So, I took the advice. You're all legends to me, and there's no doubt. I mean that straight from the heart. And I took his advice, and I wear it into the shower every day. Wake up in the morning with it. So outstanding. So you got your current CD that's out right now, and what's the name of that CD?
It's called The Outside Circle.
The Outside Circle.
All the Cowboy songs.
Okay. Is that a full album? It's an EP.
This full album, there's 10 songs on there.
10 songs on there.
9 of them are original that I wrote or co-wrote, and then we put one old traditional cowboy song on there called The Colorado Trails, written back in the 1880s by real trail driving cowboys.
Okay. So, when did that CD get released?
June of last year. So,
June of last year.
Yeah, not quite a year ago yet. And we were, you know, it's kind of surprised me that we got nominated for some awards and won one of them. We won the Spur Award. When I say we, I mean, you know, my wife and I, she was heavily involved in getting the CD done and sang on it also. So, I mean, my wife and I and our producers, Walt Wilkins and Ron Flynn, the whole bunch. It's a collaborative effort, you know. We won a Spur Award from Western Writers of America for Best Western Song of the Year. It has nothing to do with the Best Western Hotel. I don't get free rooms anywhere, but it's a nice award, and I actually won it several years ago for one of the Wild West songs I wrote, and so that was a nice little surprise to get that award.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about, you know, I saw on your site, you know, your bandmates that you normally play with. Do you have a group of guys that is your go-to band that when you need a, you know, everybody on stage? Would you like to talk about that and mention their names?
Yeah, well, for years I played in a trio, and we could add other players too. But we had a solid trio. Donnie Price played the bass, and Larry Nye, who I already mentioned both those guys, who's a guitarist, is a world-class guitarist, and he also has a recording studio. And so I recorded a lot of things at Larry's studio. We did that for a long time, for 20 years or so. That was the core group that played in Europe, and we toured there, and wherever else we toured around here. Now I've moved to Fredericksburg here the last 3 years or so, and Larry's a little farther away, and I don't do as much band stuff. I don't really do very much band stuff at all. I'm doing a lot more solo, duo kind of shows, and put together a trio or something every now and then. So there's a lot of musicians to draw from here in the Hill Country and in Austin.
No doubt.
And so if I ever have to put something together, I've got a long list of people I can call for any instrument or whatever the need may be. So
Yeah, definitely, Mike. You are in very good company. You know, a couple episodes back, I told a little quick story about my experience when I came up here, and and earlier you said that I truly believe you were all local legends. When me and my family first came up to Marble Falls, I didn't know anybody, but we were all musicians, playing musicians, and we get up here and we're like, look at us, man. We're the only mountain out here in the middle of nothing. And then we got woken up as I started meeting everybody, and we're like yourself, it's like, wow, we're this little bitty island in this huge ocean surrounded by all the mountains.
yeah,
And so it's been a great experience and ride for myself. So you normally do a trio with your bands, but there's also another side to Mike Blakely. He's actually a writer.
that's true. Yeah, I'm a novelist. That was my other passion or dream growing up, that I would read these books, some Louis Moore novels, a lot of westerns, but I read all kind of novels, and some we were assigned to read in school or whatever, and I just always had the thought, I can do this, I can tell a story like this. And so eventually, when I did go to University of Texas, I got a journalism degree, so that if I had to make a living off of writing, I could get a newspaper or magazine job or something like that without, I never knew if I was going to be able to get a book published or not. But in my spare time, I wrote my first novel. It was a Western novel set out in West Texas and New Mexico, where I had lived for a couple of years in the Air Force. So I wrote my first book, and I still recall I was working on that first novel, and my dad called me, and he said, "You may have just gotten your big break with your book you're writing." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Louis L'Amour died today." And as a tribute, it is a tribute to Louis L'Amour that when he did pass away, all the publishers from New York City and everywhere else started looking for the next Louis L'Amour, the next great Western writer. And a lot of people got their foot in the door, and I was one of them who had just, the timing was lucky. I just finished this little book that I wrote, and I managed to find an agent. It wasn't easy. I had to go through about 30 agents to find one who would take me on. And that's how my novel writing career started there.
Absolutely. So how many novels have you written since the very first time you penned your first word?
We just released my 19th novel. It just came out a month or so ago. It's called A Sinister Splendor. And it's a historical novel about the Mexican War. And I'm writing the sequel to it right now. It takes 2 books. It took me 2 books. It's going to take 2 to tell, it's quite a big story there, the whole Mexican War stuff. Yeah, that book's out now. You can get it on Amazon, and they'll ship it right to you.
Yeah,
Got a
so you can get
paperback.
on Amazon. Is that the only platform that you have it out in digital media?
It's actually in brick and mortar stores across the country. I have a New York City publisher I've been blessed to have working with me for all these years, and they have national distribution. When it comes out in paperback, which should be in a few months, it's hardback right now, but when it comes out in paperback, it'll turn up in Walmarts and other, all kinds of stores across the country, grocery stores and everywhere else, so, yeah.
I'm definitely excited. I want to see it, because I'll buy it. Once I found out that you were an author, which is actually when I started going to research and talking to John Arthur, like, he's an author too, Mel. And I thought it was wild. There was one point in my life where I thought I was a writer, but I better just stick to the music. That was just me. And Nathon Dees here is also an author.
All right.
A little bit of perspective.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So before we get to your second song you're gonna play with us, we have this little thing called the Greater Marble Falls Live Music Society, Mike. And Nathan, thanks for sitting in on the show. We've missed him. He's been out on vacation here.
Yeah, I've missed being here.
So, the Greater Marble Falls Live Music Society, we've tried to advocate everybody joining hands. It's no small secret that, and a perfect example of it, Mike, is when I started this radio show, sure, I was already in the Marble Falls Society already. But now it's a lot different, just by everybody networking together to pull everything off. And so, you're a member of it. We do a lot of posting. And actually, me and Nathan, I bet we've...
Yeah, and no, everything that comes across my wire, I repost. I spend several hours a day doing it. And I don't even know a lot of the people. And then I'm meeting other people afterwards. But initially, is that if you're playing, somebody needs to know about it. That all evolved from understanding how much it meant to me when I saw that somebody shared my gig, my post, my song, or my video. And I said, well, hell, maybe I'll start loving other people's stuff. Somebody will appreciate mine more. And it sure worked that way.
It's no doubt.
As far as that stigma, the most amazing thing, because we talked about it, we said, well, everybody feels this way. Well, I think everybody felt that way, but nobody really talked about it. Because now, just like with Tiffany and Cole from Texas Crossings goes, no, man, I think we should all be working together to help the industry as a whole, and these clubs, and bringing in the people and contacting and creating this thing instead of thinking we're all in competition with each other.
Yeah.
Everybody going to be somewhere every night anyways, and you got to know. And you got to go support those other bands and those other artists. And share their post if you see it. Do whatever and network.
Yeah,
Because
Mike, if you ever get a chance, when you go look at some of your postings that you put out, like when you're with you and John, go down and look at all the people who got the shares. You're going to be amazed when you click them on there. Half of them you don't even know. Right? And you go in there and it's like, wow, so you can see their demographics, where they're from, so people can get actually a better perspective of where their music's going. Like when I found out you were an author, of course I've been putting a little bit of extra work into it, because you actually have two. You have your music side and your author side.
Right.
So although the society's based on pushing the music side of it, I've been using my other personal ones to push the author side of it, which is awesome. I tip my hat to.
well, I'll push anything and anybody I want, which is crazy because most of these one day I'm sitting here with Grammy Award-winning country and western artists, Cowboy singers, songwriters, and stuff, and I'm gonna push in that stuff because I love this music.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then the next thing you see is Worm, Suicide, and Brutality Inc. Well, y'all don't know about Texas music then and growing up in the country, because the most rebellious thing you could be in Texas was a hillbilly punk rocker, rock and roll kid in Dripping Springs, Texas. And those bands and those guys in that Austin, Texas early punk rock and rockabilly scene, well, we survived and we're still alive, and those guys still have those bands and they're all playing. It's the most exciting thing when you see those groups, and they're bringing people outside of Austin.
Yeah, outstanding.
They're literally contacting me going, where can we play out there? Where can we play in your area?
And all you got to do is send them to the events on the Greater Marble Falls, and it lists all the contacts, booking names, phone numbers, email addresses of every venue that we have. here in our county.
We're updating and working on it daily, and contacted Facebook Business, interacted a whole new program called Facebook Create, to where I can, the reason we had to split up, we archived the group page until we could get this working, because there's no way that I could post every event as an event, post it on this page and post it on that page. I'd be on Facebook 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But now we got it all integrated, and we're really trying to make it the best music information platform on the internet out here.
Great tool for the artists, the venues, and the fans. Well, excellent. Thank you very much.
For every genre.
Yeah, no doubt. So get back over to Mike Blakely. So we just told you about the Greater Marble Falls Live Music Society, and you know, when we leave today, you see 2 cameras up. All that's going to be posted out there. We're going to try to give you right there. So, Mike, I know you got a second song for us today.
I do, yeah, I've got one warmed up here for you.
Okay, what's the name of that one?
This one's called A Town Called Paradise.
Town Called
And I
Paradise.
wrote this, I have a co-writer on this one too, is Dr. Ken Garrett, who at the time, who had written a song with John Arthur Martinez, and Ken is a big music fan. He's a physician. He lived in Dallas when we wrote this, but he's a big music fan. He rides his motorcycle around Texas and watches music, live music, and he, like I said, he had written that song with John Arthur, and so he pitched this idea to me, and I thought it was a great idea. The idea of the song is that a lot of us have been stuck in a big city at times, you know, for work reasons or education or military or whatever, and start missing our country roots, you know, our small town roots, and that's what the song is about. This is about doing something about that and getting back to where you belong.
All right.
So, and I just got to tell you, to sum it up, that Dr. Ken Garrett, my co-writer, after we wrote this song, he moved from Dallas to Granite Shoals. So he's living the song right now. He's living the dream.
So here we go. We got Town Called Paradise. Mike Blakely.
I can read it on your face. You've had it with this place. You're sick and tired of the rat race. Well, honey, I am too. Traffic jams and deadlines, crime wave in the headline, smoke choke in the sunshine. I tell you what, let's do. We'll find a place somewhere with some clear, fresh air, and we'll roll like paradise. Honey, just me and you. We'll look up at the stars at night, far from the big city lights, in a town called Paradise. Population 2. What would we have to give up? I can deal with a pay cut. Hey, let's get out of this death rut, honey, while we still can. Say goodbye to the concrete, find a turn off this one-way dead-end street. Let's get some grass under our feet. I'm not afraid to get a little dirt on my hand. We'll find a place somewhere with some clear, fresh air, and we'll roll like paradise. Honey, just me and you. We'll look up at the stars at night, far from the big city lights, in a town called Paradise. Population 2. We need a clear, open view of the southern sky. We'll lose these big city blues, honey, just you and I. Pretty smile on your face tells me you love our new place. far away from the rat race. Honey, I love it too. Darling, don't ever think twice. I would make every sacrifice to remain here in paradise. Population 2. We found a place somewhere with some clear, fresh air, and we rode like a pair of dice. Honey, just me and you. Now I look up at the stars at night, baby, far from the big city light, in a town called Paradise. Population 2. A town called Paradise. Population 2. Just me and you, baby.
Wow. I gotta tell you, I love that one.
Thank you.
Town called Paradise.
There you
Mike
go, man.
Blakely. That was outstanding, Mike.
Thank you so much.
You know, you definitely got a lot of talent. So, Mike, beyond writing what I consider just great hit songs, you have any type of sponsors that you're affiliated with that back you up, supply you with your strings, fresh cowboy hat when you need it?
You know, I've had a lot of sponsors over the years. Right now, I'm being sponsored by Billy Johnson, who's a State Farm real estate guy, agent there in Fredericksburg. But a lot of folks like that are around Marble Falls too. Here, when I lived here for a long time. You know, lived out off Morton Mill Road, and then lived at Buchanan Dam for quite a few years too before moving to Fredericksburg. But, so yeah, John Arthur and I were lucky to be sponsored by a whole host of really great music fans who like to help the musicians, you know, get the job done. Yeah, it's just really too many. I'll start leaving people out if I start to tell who they are or were. But we've been blessed with that, and this area is good for that sort of thing. If you're a musician and a songwriter, I cannot think of a better place to live than the Texas Hill Country. The one thing, you mentioned all genres earlier, and you can play any genre of music you want to here in the same show, and people just accept it as, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. We have a lot of winter Texans who come down this area to stay, and they become fans, you know. And they're from Minnesota and Wisconsin and the Dakotas and anywhere else up north, and all of them eventually come around and say, you know, this doesn't happen where we live. This doesn't happen anywhere else. All this music, and especially all the original music, it's very unusual. And we just kind of accept it here in the Hill Country. It's just the way it is. And thank God for that, you know.
No doubt, as I was stating earlier, you know, that island in the big ocean surrounded by the mountains. There's a lot of music support up here, and I stay going back. I coming from San Antonio, Texas, big old city down there.
Yeah.
And I get up to Marble Falls, and it's like amazing. You know, per capita, it's like 4 out of 5 people here are already playing in bands, have a history in music. I know it's a bit exaggerated, but it's the truth.
I don't know anybody that's not a musician. My world is kind of closed, but everybody I've met up here that's my friend in this town is a professional musician. I think there's more Grammys than the old folks home. That's my bad joke.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
Mel, you did. There are a couple of guys. I know they still sponsor John Arthur, and it's Dr. David Weber, who's an eye doctor here in town, has always been supportive. I'm sure he still supports the festival John Arthur does every year. Dr. Brooks Blake is another one who's always willing to come help us put a show on or raise some money for a charity or help us record a new project or something like that. And there are many others, but it's just really nice to have that kind of support from people who want to help.
It is. You know, one of the topics I always talk about is the support that we have from home. You know, most of us are all married.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so, you know, if your spouse is not supporting you, it makes that road tough.
Yeah.
And that usually definitely ends the life of most musicians.
Yeah.
Is if you don't have it at home, you're not gonna have it anywhere else. God bless my wife, Christina K. Lewis. She gives me all the support I could possibly want, and then some.
And my wife Annie, she's visiting family off in Washington State right now, or she probably would have come along and sang some harmonies with me, but, same thing, she takes care of those little details. You know, I'm a big picture guy, and I like the creative stuff, but she's a detailed person as well as being creative too, so we kind of make up for what the other can't do, you know, we get it done together. And it really is, like you're saying, it really is important to have this kind of lifestyle and career accepted right in your own home. It makes a big difference.
Oh, that's support, which brings you to the next thing, before we get to your third song of the show. Mike, is there any type of charity? You don't have to be a part of it, it's just something you believe strongly in. Like me, my mother has been suffering cancer for 3 years, so that's my biggest thing,
Sure.
is the fight against cancer.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I have friends that need our prayers right now too. They're fighting that demon cancer. And over the years, I like to do charities that involved wounded warriors, because of my military background, and the Fisher House is also kind of connected there. The Fisher House, like down at San Antonio at BAMC, the
Yeah.
Brooks Army Medical Center, they provide these apartments just right outside the hospital, basically, where family members can come stay without having to pay any money, and so that they can be with their wounded warrior sons or husbands or whatever. So you got that family support system right there, and it makes it possible. So Fisher House, you know, I look that one up and always try to benefit them any way possible too.
Absolutely. So Fisher House down there, and the Fish House is provided by BAMC, which I just heard you say correct.
Yeah.
So just remember, any support you can get at Fisher House, San Antonio, Texas, do it. You know, yeah, cancer is a brutal reality checkup for every one of us. You know, it changed our lives. When our mother came and told us that she'd been diagnosed, then she beat it and then it came back. And you just, when somebody says that beat cancer, you know for a fact, God, I get chills when I even talk about it.
Yeah.
But when they say they beat cancer, you almost know it's a prescription for the harder battle that's gonna come in the end. And so, God bless you and your friends. You know, you're more welcome to mention some of their names if you want. If not, that's okay. So, but that's the biggest thing for the charities right there is cancer awareness for me. So Mike, we're gonna ask you to do a third song today.
No, good.
Okay, we love your music so much, we wanna hear another one.
Don't mind if I do.
Okay, what would the third song, name of that one be?
We'll do a song here. It's been fun to play on the road. It's a cowboy hat song. We've been talking about our hats here anyway. And I got the idea from doing this song from the late great Manny Gamage. I don't know if you ever knew Manny. He was a hat maker who started in Austin, then he had a hat shop in Buda, and then it went to Luling, and then Manny passed on. But his son-in-law still runs the hat shop down there. It's called the Texas Hatter. And Manny was a real personality, and while he was making hats in his shop, people would gather around. He would tell all these stories, and he had all these biker friends. He was a former Green Beret in Vietnam, so he'd tell stories with his war buddies, but he also made hats for country music stars and movie stars. He said one time that a famous actor sent him a letter wanting a cowboy hat that he was going to use in a Western movie, and he wanted a certain kind of hat, and he said, and Manny, it's for the movies, so distress it for me. You know, you get your distressed jeans, in other words. And Manny said he made the hat the way the guy wanted, this famous star wanted it, except for one little thing. He said, distress it your own dang self. So, distressing a hat means kicking dirt on it and making it look like it's been used for 10 years, even though it's brand new. Manny didn't see the sense in making a brand new hat and then kicking dirt all over it. So I came up with this song. It's called, we just call it the Hat Song.
The Hat Song. Mike Blakely played another original tune, the Hat Song.
Bought a brand new Stetson hat, y'all. It's a pretty good one. 100Xs. Found it on sale rack, a little hat shop down in Texas. I got a good deal on it, cause it had one little flaw. Just a rough spot on the crown there, but that was all. See, I figured in the long run, that one little spot wouldn't When it's all said and done, all torn and tattered, well, that one imperfection will not stand alone. I'm gonna make this hat my own, 'cause it's the way you grab the brim 1,000 times before you hang it, busting through mesquite limbs and the sky through which you fling it. Yeah, the rain may wash away the dust, but it leaves your sweat alone. Oh, you gotta make that hat your own. Meanwhile, back at the hat shop, about then this young dude walks in. Dang if his wranglers weren't pressed. He said, I want a brand new brim, and I want mine distressed. The hat man frowned a little at the boy as he handed me my change. He said, son, that way of thinking strikes me strange. He said, I ain't just some sales clerk. I build all these hats. Every day there's more work in that sweatshop in the back. And kicking dirt on my own handiwork ain't something I condone. You're gonna have to do that on your own, boy. 'Cause it's the way you grab the brim 1,000 times before you hang it, busting through mesquite limbs and the sky through which you fling it. Yeah, the rain may wash away the dust, but it leaves your sweat alone. You gotta make that hat your own. Hold on, son, there's more. There's a scorching and the freezing on the ranges where you take it. The grit and grime season, boy, there ain't no way to fake it. 'Cause the barroom and the campfire smoke, the embers from the branding, and it's what you're down to when you're broke, held high, 'cause you're still standing. Oh, it's a heavy trail behind you, the hard landing when you're thrown. That's how you make that hat your own. Take a look at that old graybeard beside you there, boy. He's gonna wear his new hat home. You can bet he'll make that hat his own. Just dress it your own dang self, son. You're gonna have to make that hat your own.
Wow,
Ain't no way to fake it.
you know, Mike, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Mel, I appreciate the invitation.
You know, once again, I said at the beginning of the show that the distinct pleasure of seeing both y'all, both me and Nathan did. We came to watch a show over there on the rocks. And
Yeah.
when we left that night, you know, I had a very new perspective of what it was like to watch the working musicians. You know, I mean, you actually have a choice not to do it if you don't want to, because you have a different, you know, you're also an author. But, I mean, you're doing this full time by choice, and, you know, a lot of musicians have no other choice and say, hey, you know, I got, once again, tip my hat to you. You know, you're doing what you love to do, going down that hard road of music life, what you love to do. So, just real quick before I wrap the show, Mike, is there anybody you would like to mention, give a shout out to?
Oh, man, there's so many people who, you know, lived here a long time, like I said, and all my fans who used to come out to the Old River City Grill and the other places we played around here in the Uptown Theater, which is now the Hideaway, right?
Yes, sir. That's
So, yeah, all those folks, and y'all please come out and see us tonight at On the Rocks in Cottonwood Shores. John Arthur Martinez and great fiddler Kurt Marmor will be there, and it'll be great to see some of my friends from around here again.
First Wednesday of every month.
That's correct.
So everybody can find your media and your songs and everything about you at MikeBlakely.com.
That's correct, yeah.
And then on Facebook, it's Mike Blakely also.
There, I do just Mike Blakely, but also Mike Blakely's official fan page. It's a different kind of
The
page.
official page, which is,
Yeah.
yeah, outstanding. I've been there. You'll like all the information that's on there. Mike, I want to thank you for coming to the Homegrown Hour.
Mel, I appreciate you. You're doing a great job here, and it's a pleasure to be part of it.
Yes, sir. So once again, join us next week on the KBEY 103.9 FM Homegrown Hour, your source for the local talented music artist.
All right, Mike, great show. Can I get you real quick to play like a 30-second riff? Just we like to play with the intro just as a background music.
Okay.
We like to have each artist play that. So about 30-35 seconds.
Well, it can't be exit music, it's gotta be intro music. Like the Cowboy sneaking up on a guy or something.
Okay, say when.
All right, here we go. Sir, stand by. And in 3, 2, and when you're ready.
Just so we have it when they're